They call me crazy, ooh, gotta be crazy, ooh, gotta get a life, oh my life track.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Ballistic Crimson here, back at it again with another video. And as you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be taking a look at a weapon from Pixel Gun 3D called the Impulse Rifle. So this is a primary weapon, obviously, so it has a grade of Legendary with an efficiency of 71, fire rate of 98, a capacity of 35, mobility of 70, automatic area damage with 4 times zoom. So it's kind of like the, I guess you could say, a more so you have the minigun shotgun right here. This is basically like sort of like a rifle version of that with area damage. So yeah, let's go ahead and take it into a match now. Silent School can be a pretty good map for this weapon, but I never really recommend you use any weapon in Silent School because, to be honest, you don't really ever get the best gameplay here. But generally this weapon is not a bad weapon at all and can actually get some pretty decent kills like that right there. So this is a closer ranged weapon. It does have a scope, but it's not particularly useful. But it is all around a pretty good primary weapon. As you will see throughout this video, I will be getting a decent number of kills when I use this. This is because this is one of your more powerful primary weapons that you can purchase. It's up there certainly with things like the minigun shotgun. When this weapon first came out, its efficiency was pretty bad, and it was all around just a pretty crappy weapon. Of course, at close range, you're not going to be able to beat things like the Deadly Beat or the Anti-Champion rifle, for example. But if you are lucky, you can still kill people off. But all-around primary weapons in this game really aren't that powerful. And while this weapon certainly isn't the most powerful weapon you can get your hands on, it's definitely still pretty good. You can definitely put in some work with this and get a bunch of kills, as usual for many other weapons in this game. But you just gotta know what you're doing. It does have area damage, but the area damage is really freaking tiny. It has a very small area damage, and I think this weapon would just be better off without area damage, with instead having the ability to headshot, because, like I said, the area damage is like extremely tiny and it's not useful at all. So I don't really recommend you try to aim for the ground next to somebody to try to use that area damage for your advantage, as you are much better off just focusing your shots on the actual player and getting kills like that. But all around, it's definitely not a bad weapon. I definitely recommend it. I like this weapon. But, you know, all around, this weapon is really decent. If you use it in Silent School, just beware, people are probably going to kill you more often than you're going to kill them. But you can take it into different maps and still do quite well. Recently, this did get a capacity buff. It went from 20 to 35, which is a really good buff on its capacity. Easy killing pets, but all around, this is quite a fun weapon to use. It does take some getting used to. If people are jumping around like that guy over there, you're not going to be able to kill them more than likely. But it all around is a pretty powerful weapon. I don't really have many complaints about it, other than, like I said, the area damage is quite small. I would, instead, if I were to do something with this weapon, I would probably remove that area damage and make it so it's like basically like a standard assault rifle, to where you can aim for the head and deal extra damage that way. But because this is an explosive area damage weapon, you cannot get headshots with it, which is kind of a slight drawback. But the power that it has, it doesn't really need the ability to headshot, because it still puts in some work anyway. Like I said, it's definitely not the best weapon in the game, for sure, but it's pretty high up there in terms of weapons in this game. Bro, stop with that, I don't know what's going on over there. But anyway, this is a pretty decent weapon. You can get things like that. It takes around 10 shots, maybe a little more than 10 shots to kill somebody with full champion armor, which is really good for a primary weapon. This is probably one of the best primary weapons in this game. And all around, it certainly is not a bad gun. It's not an amazing gun, it's just an all around good, decent, puts in some work when you need it kind of weapon. It doesn't win every match for you, for sure, but it definitely isn't going to put you in last place, like things like the, I don't know, the simple machine gun and things like that, and, you know, that stuff will. But, rocket launchers, you know, things like that at close range, good luck. I mean, you can try your best. I mean, I still managed to take that guy down. But chances are, more than likely, you're not going to be able to beat people who are using things like the solar power cannon, or the rocket launcher, or the big buddy, or things like that at close range. because most of the time those are one-shot kills with massive area damage. This is a around a 10-shot kill with minuscule area damage. So like any area damage at all. I mean, the area damage you can still utilize it somewhat. I mean, if you miss your shot and your enemy is like right next to a wall, you can still kind of hit them with it and deal that damage. But like I said several times before, it's always better to actually aim down your enemy, because the area damage all around isn't that useful. The scope is pretty good. You can use the scope to your advantage because it does have a 4x scope on it. Whereas for most area damage weapons, the scope isn't useful. This has an exception because its bullets instantly connect to where you're trying to fire at. But all around, this weapon is it's just all around a good primary weapon. Not the best weapon in the game, but for a primary, this is really high up there with some of the other ones. Things like the Excalibur and things like that, this weapon is very similar in power to those and will definitely give you some really good gameplay whenever you need good gameplay. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say about the Impulse Rifle. I'm gonna go to the end of this match here. But yeah, that's the Impulse Rifle for you. Good gun, definitely a really good gun, for the primary section at least. I wouldn't say use it the whole match, because it's probably not gonna win a match for you. This person's invincible, don't know why, but you can see the area damage, okay? Just gonna test it on you. Yeah, it's really not that hard to get kills with this at all. And if you're good at aiming, I definitely recommend you get this. If you're like a person that's really good at connecting bullets, this is definitely the weapon for you, and I definitely recommend you pick this up and take it for a spin, because seriously, this weapon's a lot of fun to use. But, you know, that's basically my coverage on the Impulse Rifle. You know, recently it was pretty horrible, but then it got a buff, and now it's pretty good. So yeah, I definitely recommend the Impulse Rifle to you. It's a lot of fun to use, and definitely one that I appreciate the buff that it got, because before it was just horrible. Now you can actually get tons of kills with this if you are good at the game. And all around, it's just a really good primary weapon. I don't know what else to say other than that. It's just really high up there with things like the minigun, shotgun, and the Excalibur, and the cyborg hands in terms of efficiency. I mean, I got 8 kills in this match. You can get more than that, because like I said, Silent School definitely isn't the best map for this weapon. Things like Pool Party and Coliseum definitely aren't the best. I always recommend medium range when you're trying to use the Impulse Rifle, preferably matches like Block Mart or things like Paradise Resort are really good maps for this. Silent School definitely isn't the best, but even in Silent School you can still do surprisingly well. And all around, it's just a decent primary weapon. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than that. I'm gonna maybe kill this guy. It doesn't take a lot of shots, and it's just a lot of fun to use. But yeah, like I said, the main problem with it is that you cannot headshot, which is unfortunate to say the least. This guy's using it over here too. But yeah, you know, take it for what it's worth. It is a pretty good primary weapon. The sound it makes when you fire it's kind of obnoxious, but then again, it doesn't really have anything to do with the gameplay. It's just a good rifle. It's a good, solid little rifle, and that's basically all I have to say about it. It's just all around not bad. It's not great, but it's definitely not bad either. It's the best, one of the best primary weapons out there for sure. If you're looking for a good primary weapon and you're pondering which one you should get, this is definitely probably the one right here. Because with things like the Excalibur and the cyborg hands, you need to waste tons and tons of gems on events in order to get those. Not sure what's going on over here, but basically, with that being said, you can just buy this for a few hundred coins, I think is all this weapon costs. Of course, you need to pay a few more coins for those upgrades that this weapon needs in order to be as strong as you're seeing it right here. But yeah, like I said before, things like the solar power cannon, or like this guy has over here, the anti-champion rifle, at close range, probably gonna beat you more often than you'll beat them. Mainly because it's Silent School and everybody's running around with things that insta-kill. But even in Silent School, like I said, where everybody is spamming the Ghost Lantern and whatnot, you can still do surprisingly well. And that says a lot for the primary weapon right here. Since this is a primary weapon though, like I said, medium range, Paradise Resort, and Paradise Resort, Toy Factory if they ever bring that map back. D-Day is a decent one. And all around, medium range is where you want to use this. I definitely don't recommend Silent School. even though it is still possible to use this in Silent School, it definitely isn't the best map for this. But all around, it's a really good primary weapon. I do enjoy it a lot, and well, hopefully you guys do as well, because it is certainly one of the best primary weapons out there for sure. It certainly isn't better than the Ultimatum. That's like the best primary weapon in the entire freaking game. But in terms of primary weapons in this game, this is definitely top tier and about as good as you'll get for a primary weapon. At least for an assault rifle. But yeah, that's the Impulse Rifle. I really hope you guys did enjoy this review. I mean, it wasn't really that hard to make because, well, this weapon never really gets bad gameplay as long as you don't have everybody using the one-shot and things like that. But yeah, that basically does it for this video. You know, Impulse Rifle, if you're looking for a decent primary weapon, definitely get this. Like I said, Silent School, don't try it in Silent School. It's not going to work too well. Unless you're, like, extremely lucky and this guy just sucks at aiming. Alright. Well, that guy sucked, but, you know, you're not always gonna get kills like that, so, forget that, probably. But, anyway. Yeah, that's all there is to this video. I really hope you guys did enjoy, this little review that I made for you. You know, I'm gonna try to upload weapon reviews, a bit more from this point forward, because I never really upload them a whole lot, to be honest, but in the times that I do, y'all better appreciate it, because sometimes they're a lot of work, or sometimes I can just slaughter a bunch of people like I did in this video. But anyway, I ended up in 10th place, mostly because everybody was spamming insta-kill Madoodles the entire match. But you know, that's it for this video, you guys. Really good primary weapon, Impulse Rifle. Don't use it the entire match in Silent School, because it's not going to do you too well. But if you're looking for a top-tier primary weapon, definitely go for this thing. But that's all I have to say about the Impulse Rifle, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.